You want to know when I realized humans were insane? I mean, truly, spectacularly, dangerously out of their minds? It was the day Commander Vrollix made his biggest mistake. Let me set the scene for you. There we were, the Kromath Dominion, masters of 300 star systems, conquerors of 17 species, with weapons that could crack planets like eggs. We'd been expanding our territory for 2 centuries, and not once, not a single time, had anyone told us no and lived to laugh about it. Then we found Earth. Now, I'll admit, the initial scans looked promising. Soft bipedal creatures, no natural armor, fragile bone structure, primitive chemical propulsion systems. They'd barely made it to their own moon, for crying out loud. We figured this would be easy. A quick show of force, some stern ultimatums, maybe vaporize one of their cities to prove we meant business, and boom, another species added to our empire. Commander Vrollix, may his memory serve as a warning, decided to start with negotiations. He was feeling generous that day, probably because he'd just had his scales polished. He opened a communication channel to their largest governing body, something called the United Nations, and delivered his standard conquest speech. I was there, in the command center, watching the whole thing unfold. Vrollix's 3 eyes gleamed with confidence as he spoke. Primitive humans, you will surrender your planet to the Kromath Dominion. You have 72 of your Earth hours to comply. Resistance will result in annihilation. These terms are non-negotiable. The human representative, a small female named Director Patricia Morgan, stared at our transmission for exactly 4 seconds. Then, and I swear on my ancestors' honor, she laughed. Not a nervous laugh, mind you. A genuine, belly-shaking, tears-forming laugh. Vrollix's head crest flared purple with confusion. You dare mock the Dominion? Patricia wiped her eyes. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just, you're the 3rd alien species this month that's tried this speech. Do you guys have a script you all share? Or is threatening planets just coincidentally boring across the galaxy? 3rd species? 3rd? Vrollix's mandibles clicked nervously, but he pushed forward. Your bravado means nothing. We have eliminated entire civilizations. Your military capabilities are laughable compared to ours. Right? Sure, very scary. Patricia said, examining her fingernails. Actually examining her fingernails while being threatened with planetary destruction. Quick question though. Did you happen to do any research before coming here? Like, any at all. We know everything we need to know about your pathetic species. Cool. So you know about Marcus Reeves then? The name meant nothing to us. Vrollix's confusion must have shown because Patricia's smile grew wider. Oh, that smile. If I'd known what it meant, I would have turned our ship around right then. Marcus Reeves, she continued, leaning forward, was a mining engineer. 3 months ago, his crew was taken hostage by the Zephyros Collective. They're these really aggressive insectoid types, lots of chittering, very intimidating. They had plasma weapons, personal shields, the works. You know what Marcus had? Silence from our end. A welding torch and what he later described as a really bad day. He killed 14 Zephyros soldiers, saved his entire crew, and escaped in their own ship. When we asked him how, he said, and I quote, "They threatened my friends, so I got creative." Vrollix scoffed. One anecdote proves nothing. You're right. Let me tell you about Dr. Yuki Tanaka. Biologist, early 40s, absolutely hates violence. The Grimmar Horde boarded her research station, started executing her colleagues one by one. She manufactured a biological weapon from the station's algae samples in under 2 hours and wiped out the entire boarding party. She cried the whole time, felt terrible about it afterward, but she still did it. I watched Vrollix's confidence start to crack. His scales were shifting from their usual crimson to a nervous orange. Patricia wasn't done. Then there's the incident with the Vextor Empire. They kidnapped 50 human children from a colony ship, thought they'd use them as leverage. The children's parents? They stole a cargo freighter, modified it with mining explosives, and rammed it directly into the Vextor command carrier. No training, no military experience, just really angry parents. The Vextor haven't been seen in our sector since. Coincidence, Vrollix muttered, but his voice wavered. Here's the thing you need to understand about humans, Commander. We're not brave. We're not particularly strong. We're not even that smart compared to some species out there. She paused, and that smile turned cold. But we're vindictive, creative, and we absolutely refuse to quit. Ever. You know what happens when you threaten a human? What? The word barely escaped Vrollix's throat. We take it personally. Before anyone could respond, alarms started blaring throughout our ship. My console lit up with warnings. Impossible readings. Our shields were being hit, not from outside, but from inside. Sir, I shouted. Multiple intrusion points detected. They're already on board. How? Vrollix roared. Patricia's face on the screen looked almost sympathetic. Did you really think you were the first to try threatening us? We've been reverse engineering alien technology for months now. Your teleportation signatures? We cracked that code 2 weeks ago. While you were giving your little speech, we sent boarding parties to every ship in your fleet. The command center doors exploded inward. Human soldiers poured through, moving with terrifying efficiency. The thing about humans in combat, and this is something they don't tell you in the Dominion intelligence briefings, is that they move like they're constantly expecting the universe to try killing them. Because apparently, on their planet, it does. Regularly. These soldiers weren't like anything I'd studied. They wore armor that seemed to adapt to our ship's environment in real time, carried weapons that looked primitive, but fired projectiles that punched through our defensive plating like it was decorative foil. And worst of all, they were coordinating without any visible communication devices. Just hand signals and head nods. Simple. Effective. Terrifying. Commander Vrollix tried to activate his personal shield. A human soldier, couldn't have been more than 20 cycles old by their standards, shot it 3 times in the exact same spot. The shield overloaded and shattered. The kid didn't even break stride. Stand down, the lead human barked. Her nameplate read, Captain Williams. She was shorter than most of her squad, but everyone moved when she spoke. Commander Vrollix, you're under arrest for threatening a sovereign world and entering our system with hostile intent. Vrollix's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter or panic. Probably both. Arrest? You cannot arrest a Kromath commander. We have armies, fleets, weapons that could sterilize your planet. Captain Williams tilted her head, genuinely curious. Could you though? I mean, right now, in this moment, can you actually do any of that? She had a point. Our weapons systems were locked down, our shields were compromised, and I could see on my console that every other ship in the fleet was reporting the same situation. 17 warships, neutralized in under 4 minutes. This is impossible. I whispered. One of the human soldiers, a massive guy whose armor made him look like a walking tank, chuckled. You should see us when we're actually trying. Vrollix's scales had gone completely pale, a color I'd never seen on a Kromath before. Pure, undiluted fear. What do you want? Patricia's voice crackled through the communication system again. Honestly, we wanted to be left alone. We were having a nice, peaceful decade, making art, curing diseases, arguing about sports. Then you guys showed up with your threats and your ultimatums and your 72-hour deadlines. She sighed. Why does it always have to be 72 hours? Is that like a galactic standard for intimidation? Director Morgan, Captain Williams interrupted, professional but with a hint of amusement. The fleet is secured. Minimal casualties on both sides. They're ready for processing. Processing. Vrollix's voice cracked. Oh, relax, Patricia said. We're not going to kill you. We're not monsters. We're going to do something much worse. We're going to educate you. I didn't understand what she meant until 3 weeks later. They kept us on Earth, but not in prisons. They put us in what they called cultural integration facilities. Sounds nice, right? It wasn't. It was psychological warfare of the highest order. They made us watch their history. All of it. Oh, you know what humans did before they had spaceflight? They fought each other. Constantly. For thousands of years. Over everything. Resources, territory, ideology, religion, and sometimes, I swear, just because they were bored. They developed weapons that could end their entire species dozens of times over, pointed them at each other, and then just chose not to use them. They showed us something called World War II. 60 million dead. Entire cities erased. And that was with primitive technology. Then they showed us how they rebuilt, how former enemies became allies, how they went from throwing rocks to walking on their moon in less than one of their generations. But the worst part, the part that made my blood run cold, they showed us their entertainment. Humans make stories about extinction-level threats for fun. They have entire genres dedicated to alien invasions, zombie apocalypses, robot uprisings, nuclear war, climate disasters, asteroid impacts, you name it. And in every single story, they win. Sometimes they lose millions, sometimes civilization collapses, but they always find a way to survive and fight back. It's called preparation, explained Dr. James Porter, the human assigned to my education group. He was an anthropologist, cheerful, kind, and absolutely remorseless about destroying our worldview. We've been imagining how to fight extinction since we figured out extinction was possible. You threatened us with it? Commander, we've been training for that scenario in our fiction for centuries. But why? I asked. Why are you so obsessed with survival? Dr. Porter smiled, and it was the saddest smile I'd ever seen. Because our planet tried to kill us every single day for millions of years. Ice ages, supervolcano eruptions, predators, diseases, droughts, floods. We're not the strongest species Earth produced. We're just the only one that refused to die. He paused. Actually, that's not true. We nearly went extinct multiple times. Got down to a few thousand individuals once. You know what we did? We spread across the entire planet out of spite. On the 31st day of our education, Commander Vrollix was released. They gave him his ship back, fully repaired, with upgraded engines as a gift. They gave us all the technical specifications, no strings attached. Patricia met with us one final time before we left. You're free to go, Commander. Tell the Dominion, tell the entire galaxy if you want, what happened here. Vrollix's voice was hollow. You humiliated us, defeated us without even trying. No, Patricia corrected gently. We defended ourselves. There's a difference. You came here expecting prey and found something else entirely. She leaned forward. Here's the thing, Commander. Humans don't want to conquer the galaxy. We don't want to build empires or subjugate species. We just want to explore, learn, maybe make some friends along the way. Then why the show of force? Because the galaxy needs to understand something very important. Her voice dropped, and every human in the room seemed to stand a little straighter. We're friendly. We're helpful. We're generous to a fault. But if you threaten us, if you threaten our families, our homes, our friends, we will respond with creativity and violence that will make you wish you'd never learned our star system had a name. She smiled that terrifying smile again. We're not the monsters under the bed, Commander. We're the thing the monsters check for before they go to sleep. We left Earth that day. Vrollix resigned his commission the moment we returned to Dominion space. Last I heard, he's a gardener now on some peaceful colony world, growing flowers and absolutely refusing to discuss his military career. That a yes for me? I became an ambassador. Someone had to warn the galaxy. Not to fear humans, but to understand them. They're not invincible. They're not all-powerful. But they're persistent, creative, and absolutely incapable of giving up. And if you threaten them, well, you'll learn the same lesson we did. Threatening a human isn't an act of war. It's a suicide note you're writing for yourself, except you're too stupid to realize it until they've already won. The galaxy is a big place. Plenty of room for everyone. Just maybe, possibly, definitely, don't threaten the species that climb to the top of the food chain on a death world by being too stubborn to die. Trust me on this one.